ShipHub is the platform where you can actually meet your forwarder. And I would like to invite you also to use ShipHub. ShipHub is 100% free for shippers, for importers, and for exporters. And it's actually a great place where you can quote your freights. So hi, Topias. Also, thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. So at ShipHub, you shippers can actually quote international freight. I would like really happy to welcome you guys and to try to set up a free account before we start, and also see the features, what we can do at ShipHub, and how you can benefit from finding the right rates. Because as you know, in the shipping industry, in the freight industry, we have really big problems when it comes to that, and I will talk about this in a few seconds. So just before I start, I just pinned the link where you can set up the free account and use ShipHub to quote, to work with us and find your dream forwarder. So I will talk also two more minutes about that, but let's wait for the rest of the group. Thank you guys for joining. I see more and more people are just joining. I will wait 1-2 minutes and just start with the 30-35 minutes presentation. After that, let's have a chat. Let's talk about your problems. You can ask me direct questions. I will ask them directly after the presentation. Let me also ask me, guys, where are you shipping from? What are the most interesting routes for you? Where are you from? Europe, China, US? What are you searching for when it comes to the shipping? Hi, Tobias. Hi, yeah. Thanks for joining, guys, and it's really great to have you here. Sebastian, also first time here as well. Hello, everybody. So I'm really happy you started using the chat window, which you have in the right bottom edge of your screen, and you are really welcome to use it. So we have 1 minute past 5 p.m. here in Europe. So thank you everyone for joining. My name is Dominic from ShipHub, and today I want to talk about the current situation in freight, shipping time, rates, and most important, I have some forecasts for the next weeks, for the next months for you, because I'm pretty sure that's why you actually joined us. So on the right bottom side of the window, you have the chat window, so you can use it to ask me direct questions. I will just start the presentation, so I will close the chat window. I will open it after half an hour, so I will answer as many questions as you have to me. Feel free to ask me about actually anything when it comes to shipping and to freights. Before I start to the main part of the presentation, I would like to welcome all ShipHub users. I would like to also welcome everyone who is new. I would also introduce our company, what we do at ShipHub. At ShipHub, you can actually quote your international freight when it comes to sea, rail, or air. When it comes to the main markets, ShipHub is really dynamically developing, and we are already active on the German market, Polish market, Turkey, China, and US. And I would like to also welcome all shippers, importers, exporters from the Netherlands, because we just launched 3 months ago the Dutch market. So if you are looking for shipments to or from the Netherlands or from the Benelux region, even Germany, France, Belgium, feel free to use ShipHub. I just pinned at the chat window the link where you can set up a free account, no obligations, to use the dashboard, to use ShipHub, and actually get your actual quotes within minutes. We work only with verified freight forwarders. We know all of our partners, and on each market where ShipHub is active, you will get actually quotes from multiple forwarders in one place. So it's all free. We don't take commission from the shipments. Quotes will appear within like actual minutes, which are real quotes, human-made. It's not preloaded, so it's really a great tool to use. Today, I will attach the topic about the high prices. I will make some forecasts, and what I can say actually from our side, for what I'm also seeing, that I believe that we just reached the peak a couple of weeks ago when it comes to the really high prices in the shipping industry. So I think this is the main topic of today's meeting, that I believe that we are behind those high rates we actually saw in August and September. And I really hope for all of you shippers, for all the freight industry, that will get normal rates as soon as possible. So what's the problem actually right now? I think, as we've seen in the previous months, that It was really hard to get a container in Asia. It was really hard to get out a container in the US when you already had your goods in the ports. I think the main problem is not the lack of containers right now, but empty containers who are actually all over the world, and we can't get them back actually to Asia, because Asia, is the world hub when it comes to the production of and shipping of all goods. The current situation in freight, shipping time and rates, and the congestions in US ports are the most problems I think we have to face in the coming weeks. What more? You probably heard about the problems in Long Beach port and all major US ports, that there are like dozens of ships waiting to enter the ports. But a good sign is that this situation is starting to get fixed. It starts slowly but slowly. We see already, like last month, a big input from like all the guys in the industry, politicians, to fix the problem, because when we have 20 or 40 ships waiting to enter a US port, we actually can't move those ships around the world, and we can't make another run from China elsewhere. So I think nowadays it won't be about the price, but it will be at the place where you want to ship that matters. And at today's webinar, I've proposed some segments of the presentation. I will start to introduce the reasons why we not only faced really high prices when it comes to the freight industry, but also those problems with congestions, with getting a container on maybe not so popular routes. I will make later on some updates. It's a common thing I'm doing regularly on our webinars, that we have some updates when it comes to the current rates, and some update when it comes to the forecast for the next weeks. And today, of course, some major forecast for the whole next year. Of course, at the end, some useful advice from our side, which I hopefully can be useful for everyone, no matter how much experience you have in importing and exporting, no matter how many containers, how much goods are you sending all around the world. Hopefully those advice will be useful for you, so you can use them when any problems will maybe in the future appear. So first part of my meeting today, I want to talk about the reasons why do we had such high prices actually during the whole 2021 year. Why did we face those prices? And we grouped them in a couple of reasons. Of course, you maybe faced them when you were doing business during the whole year. Some new importers and exporters may wonder, okay, why do we actually have some high shipping prices, freight prices when it comes to the situation right now? Of course, we had a really long Chinese New Year back at the beginning of 2021, and of course the reasons of the COVID situation, not only in the US, but also especially in China. I call it like a crazy 2020 year. And I think you can agree with me that we had so many problems when it came to the situation in freight industry. I see that I even didn't mention the Suez Canal problem. There are so many factors that had impact actually on the whole freight industry. We could mention a lot like floods in China, which had huge impact on the rail connections. There were a lot of congestions when it comes to the rail connections between China and Europe. Of course, the returns of COVID-19 in China actually through the whole year. Starting in different ports, we had the big outbreaks in the Nanshan port, in Yantian port, lockdowns in different parts of China. This was actually the whole year we saw those information coming from China to us like every time. So this is also a big problem, which I think we may face in the coming months. Would the situation come back to a crazy situation again? Remember that the biggest ports in the world are in China. And when we close a big port like the Yantian port or the Ningbo port, those ports are handling around 20 to 30,000 TEU per day. So imagine if we have a week closure, we have a congestions for like thousands of containers which need to be pushed away, drove away, shipped away from the port worldwide. And this it's a network effect. When we have problems in China, the problems will later on occur on the other side of the Pacific in the US. So another reason for a complex situation and all problems is are the congestions all around the world. We had actually during summer we had a really stable situation, but look on this chart, August, September, it skyrocketed when it comes to congestions. And I think congestions is the main topic which we will face for the coming weeks, because remember, China New Year is coming, and I will talk about that in a few minutes. Nowadays, more than 5% or even 10%, I saw like different statistics of the whole fleet, of the whole container fleet, is stuck in traffic jams, not only in the US, but we have big traffic jams in the UK. Ships are like moving the goods to other smaller European port. We had some congestions in the Hamburg area in Germany, so it's a worldwide problem. So when you look also in the congestions, so we had in China, you can look on the slide. I will just turn on the so you can see it. Shanghai Ningbo, 339 ships are waiting to enter like the biggest port in China. The problems in LA, all dots are big container ships who are waiting for the port to enter, holding billions of dollars of products in containers. So I think this was one of the main problems, which also moved to rail, of course. If you are from listening from Europe, Germany, Netherlands, Poland, you probably use the good rail connections we have between China and Europe, but the congestions on the railways from China are also about 30 days already. We have big congestions on the China-Kazakhstan border. We have big congestions in the European Belarus border. So of course, rail is a great alternative when it comes to problems, to high shipping rates, which I will talk also in a few minutes. But we have also congestions over there. You have to remember that. Another reason for for high prices and all the problems we faced the whole year, I think it's a little bit the pandemic, which was used by ship owners. I'm talking about this every time because I don't want to blame your, I don't want to blame your forwarders for the high prices and for the problems. Remember, the forwarders are not the bad guys. The forwarders are on your side. They also work with the ship owners, with the shipping lines, which are also using the power to push up high prices, to push up ships and transfer ships on other routes. We can see this also even on the stock markets when we look how much they gained over the last year. All around the world, we have three major alliances when it comes to the ocean carriers. We have the alliances, the Ocean Alliance and the 2M Alliance. Of course, Maersk and MSC are the biggest shipping carriers who actually also can rule the game and say where your containers will go, where you can ship from. Of course, the profits they skyrocket when it comes to those companies. This year, they will earn like a lot. They also control over than 85% of the whole sea freight market when it comes to container shipments. Also, Hapag-Lloyd, other companies, you can see that the profits they are higher in 1 to quarters than in the past 10 years. This is actually getting crazy. And yeah, we, the importers and exporters, are actually paying the price, the high price. Also, I think a big reason to problems in the whole supply chain might be on our side, might be on the shipper's side. I also think that this is what I'm seeing, especially in new importers and new companies who start the import-export business, that we really have to understand the whole supply chain. The better we understand the supply chain, how long does it take to get your goods out of China to your place? How long does it take to export products to Asia from your place? The better for us, the better we can actually get ready for that and actually face problems. I will talk about understanding the supply chain in the second part after we will talk about the prices, about the current situation and the forecast. But this is also important to mention right now because, as you know, shipping a container, it doesn't take actually the real time you get from your forwarders. You get really good marketing informations about the transit times, about the shipping times, but actually, hey, you have to count the congestions, you have to count the problems we will have. A major storm is coming to Germany and Poland actually tomorrow. I think the port in Hamburg, in Gdańsk will be closed for 2 or 3 days. So those also factors which will delay your shipments. You have to also take this into account. Of course, leading ships into profitable markets. I don't want to talk only about China, Europe, and US, because you are listening from all over the world. You also might see in these problems that you want to ship your goods on other routes and you can't get a connection. You can't get actually a container on board because all the big ships are gone to the profitable markets. So it's really hard nowadays to get a shipments out from Australia to India, from India to US, or even between Europe and US. It's really hard to get some free space and really see this, especially on less popular routes like South America to Europe, or Europe to Middle East. It's really not so easy as this was before. And of course, not only the winter situation in US and Europe, but we have the typhoon season in southern China. As I've said, if a Shenzhen, Hong Kong ports are closed for 4 or 5 days, it will really build up huge congestions in China. But those are the reasons. Those are the reasons for the high prices, for all the problems you are facing for the last months. But what's the current situation? Because this is also why you came to listen to us, to listen to our Ship Hub experts. What's the current situation? I have good news for you, actually, because when we look on those trends, when we look for the highest prices, I can tell you that we're looking into the market and focusing on the market since August, since July. We really see a slow but a significant drop in rates. This is a good situation. As you see on the global freight index, that altogether on all routes, we see a drop, a trend down, a trend south, and also on other markets. For instance, when it comes to the China, USA West Coast shipment connections, we see a significant drop in just 2 months. Those are the average, of course, spot rate prices you saw on the routes. But look, just 2 months ago, 10th of September, we had around $20,000 for a shipment, down to 15 just in 2 months. So those prices ran up really high, really fast in the first quarter and second quarter of the year, but luckily they start to fall down. Also, when you look on the Europe route, China to Europe, we had the roof around September, end of September. It's a decreasing tendency. Slowly but slowly, we are getting those rates down. Also, when you look on the Shandex index, the China index, even week by week, you hopefully see this one. The Europe service, China Europe service, is down around 4% just in 1 week. So it's good because since January, we just saw the prices going up, 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 and up. Since September, we have a slow trend down. This is, of course, not only on the main routes, but as you see here, and we have a stagnation on the Japanese service. I don't have all the routes for you because I just want to talk, half an hour. I don't want to take too much of your time, but you see the trend is actually really clear that we have 2 or 3 months of deep breath, and we can really be happy about that. But what will we face in the next weeks? What are we facing in the next year? So I will talk right now about some information about the time and costs, and also show you the price differences comparing 2 or 3 months ago. I will just make a short break and welcome all of you guys who are just joining me. I know you are from all around the world, and it's hard for us to get one good time for you. So thanks for joining for us. Thank you for being. We'll have 20 more minutes when it comes to the content presentation, and at the end, I will do a short Q&A and answer, guys, all of your questions. So you can ask me questions later on. Also, you can set up a free Ship Hub account, especially for those markets like US, Netherlands, Germany, Turkey, to get in touch with new forwarders. So thank you for joining us, guys. So check every mode of transport. This is I wanna encourage you, and also talk that prices, they might be different. As you see here, we have a case for transportations from China to Germany, and the question is, how much are we going to pay? We had $20,000 when it comes to those high roof prices a couple of months ago, but will we pay 13, 16, or even 18? It's hard to predict, but I will get you some insights within the next slides. So what important for all our listeners in Europe, also for all the listeners who can use rail transport when it comes for shipments out of China, use it. We have rail connections from China not only to Europe, we have to Russia, to Turkey. It's really booming. The rail from China to Turkey is really booming right now. So it's a good idea not only to quote, but also to compare sea rates to rail rates when you actually can do it. As mentioned, you can do it on ShipHub. It's all free to quote right now. And you can always see the market prices. Even if you have good forwarders you work with, why not to quote right now? Check the market prices, because when you see those costs are falling. We have an example of a sea shipment, LCL shipment between Shenzhen and Hamburg. And you see for 20 CBMs, the transit time really went up because it's already around 45 days when it comes to a sea shipment. It's a real transit time, but those prices are already 10% down. It's a good really it's a big relief for all importers. So just 4 months and the trend is getting down. So I think it's a good news for everyone. Another example to the Netherlands. We have an example of an FCL shipments July 21 and November 21 for the HC container. Transit time almost the same, but those prices are already getting down. Please remember that all prices I'm showing you, it's just more the comparison to show you the trend. You always have to talk with your forwarder to get the actual prices, because to be honest, I've seen already for December some quotes for $12,000-$13,000 for the main European ports. So it's even a bigger fall than I'm showing you right now. Also another example for rail transport, LCL shipments between Tianjin and Amsterdam. We have more than 10%, I would say even a 20% decrease in those rates. So yeah, it's a good information. It's a good information for all importers, exporters, that those rates are starting to fall. Will the trend stay it, or will we have now increase before the Chinese New Year? Just wait 2 minutes for us, and I will talk about this. Jingan, Gdansk in Poland, FCL transport for rail, also 70,000 to 15,000 within 4 months. This is really great information for all importers that the trend is finally down. And another, I also want to show you some prices for other connections in November. Izmir to Somalia, Vietnam to Seattle. You always have to quote your route and actually get actual prices. So what will be the predictions for 22? So I know you're waiting for that, and I made a lot of predictions when it comes not only to the rates, but wait for it, but also for the whole industry. What solutions, what problems will you face in the next year? Because it's better to prepare for the bad news and get lower rates than the other way we've seen in this year. I remember I talked to a lot of ShipHub users. We had rates like $3,000, $4,000. They ask us, okay, will it go up or down? It's also hard for us to make really good predictions, but yeah, they waited and they saw like 7,000, 8,000, 10,000, and it's really difficult to plan when we have an unstable situation. Even if the rates stay high, but when we face a stabilization in the industry, it will be much easier for everyone to plan their import and export business. So the predictions, what await us in the next year, I will tell, and I'm seeing this talking with many partners, with many forwarders, that finally we will get space. So the problem of getting your containers out of China won't actually face us, I believe that, but we will have congestions. The transit time will really go up, and actually a real door-to-door shipment will take longer, I believe, at least 30 days than you've experienced in the past. What I also think will happen in January, it's always the situation between the China New Year that we might see some delays, because there are always containers piled up and there are always congestions. But what I've said, we'll see a stabilization with a slow falling trend. And of course, unfortunately, we won't see rates from 2019. I don't believe, it's my personal opinion, guys, I don't believe that we'll see in the first half of 2022 rates back from 2019. Maybe at the end, maybe next, like the 23 year, but definitely not 22. High prices as we seen at the summer, like a couple of months ago, I don't believe in that. I think the market will stabilize and actually a falling trend, especially after the Chinese New Year, will continue. But so what I said, stabilization right now. Those stabilizations, those falling trends, also continuing in December. Tomorrow we started 1st of December, and I've seen a lot of market quotes and informations that those rates are still going more the $10,000 direction instead of the $20,000 direction. So this is really good news. What more? We see the falls, but as I said, we want to see the falls to really, really low levels. What more? Plan those delays. I told you about that. You will have a brief, but take into account congestions. So if you really plan ahead, because when we have more problems when it comes to the rail connections between, and I'm seeing this already with some shippers, they canceled their rail shipments, they moved back again to sea shipments, to sea freight, because they were aware of the problems on the China-Kazakhstan border, at the Belarus-Polish border, with the all political situation we actually have over there. I encourage you always to try the rail connections, especially in Europe and in Turkey, because rail is working really well. Remember about the problems I told you, that there might be congestions, but you have to try and to compare. The whole 2021, we actually saw that the sea and rail freights went 1-to-1 ratio. So you had almost the same rates. And I think the congestions in Kazakhstan and Belarus, they will be temporary, 1-2 months. We won't talk about them anymore. But the current situation is right now that we have those congestions. Remember, please, that. Another information that you have to remember, that the volatility of your offer from the forwarders will get really, like it will take like 5 days, 2 weeks, 4 weeks. So small contracts still will be hard to get. Before the pandemic, it was really easy for even smaller importers to get really good contracts, small contracts with forwarders, so they could guarantee the price for longer time. And now it's also a little bit a risky idea with the validity of the quotations, because normally it was a month, 2 months. Now what I'm seeing, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and when it comes to air cargo, even 5 days. Air cargo on some routes is changing every day, and you have to be ready that those offers, those quotations might change really dynamically. Air cargo, I believe that the costs in the air cargo will decrease in the next year, because we see more and more countries are actually opening up. Indonesia, Thailand is opening up, and the more flights we have to those also big production manufacturer hubs, the more cargo space is available. So I believe that the more passenger transport will come back to normal, the more cargo space you will have, and those prices will fall in the next year compared to those high prices we had actually during summer 2021. Also, what we will see in the next year is big change in preferences. Those preferences, I'm talking about the whole day, the whole evening right now, switch from sea to rail, but also big players are starting to doing it, like Kia, Hyundai, even Apple changed some shipment methods for the products. They are still sending all iPhones via air cargo, but they started to use sea shipments for some of their products, which is actually a new situation on the market. What more? Increase in demurrage and detention fees. Also remember that more the forwarders that will try to push more costs on your side, more different. Sometimes I want to say it like not really smart moves from their side, but different cancellation fees, demurrage fees when it comes on picking up the containers from you. remember, we the shipper always paying, we always paying the bill. So when we have congestions, when we even can get the containers out of the ports, we really have to remember that the demurrage fees, the detention fees, like the free time fees for your container to unload the products, they will also fall down. And I'm seeing this on the European market like really frequently. Before the pandemic, we had 6-8 hours to unload the container at our warehouse. Now I see many forwarders offering just 3 hours to unload, and each hour is extra paid. Couple dozens of euro, and this is also a cost. Price increase before the Chinese New Year. This will definitely happen starting January. Remember, all holidays in China, which has the biggest impact on the whole freight industry worldwide, are up to the holidays. We see in Asia, especially in China, and yeah, China New Year, 1st of February. Wait until the end with me, so you'll get the whole calendar for the 2022 from here. So please stay until the end. Everyone who stays, I will get you all the bonuses you were promised. So just a few minutes, and we'll come to the Q&A section. So many companies will start importing well in advance, but I was a little bit worried that we won't see some price decrease in October, November, because everyone will prepare of the Chinese New Year. Those prices continue to fall. So there might be a situation that the China New Year, which will start next month, like in January, won't have such a big increase on rates. What more? Avoidance of certain ports by ship owners. I think this will continue. You've maybe heard that some shipping lines are pushing their routes out of Long Beach, where we have like really huge congestions, to other ports on the west coast. And we are seeing this here in Europe, that many ship owners are avoiding UK because of the congestions at the UK ports and unloading those containers in Antwerp, Rotterdam, or Hamburg. So this will be a trend for the coming months, I think, to continue. So the forecast which we had for this year was actually quite the same. We did every time on our webinars. So thanks for my team that we really had good forecasts in advance. So today already around 12,000, 13,000, with a small increase in December, maybe January. But I believe that after the Chinese New Year, we'll continue the falling trend. Slowly, but it will be a continuation of the falling trend. How much? It's really hard to say. I will have another webinar definitely in the end of January or February, so we will see more information for the coming months. But right now, we can definitely say it. What will happen in the next year? Of course, more ships will come to the more ships will continue to come to the market, especially the ULCS ships who can handle around 24,000-25,000 TEU. So the more capacity on the market, so the more possibilities we have, those prices should fall down. Ultra large container ships, they rolled out in 2020. Through 2021, we had many ships coming to the market, and they have to carry actually containers. They can't wait and do nothing, so they have to bring containers all around the world. Also, the trend which started this year will continue. We will see more competition on the market, and the more competition, the better for everyone. We also saw that some countries, some regions also decided to face the problems, to fight the ship owners. Taiwan made a decision, to put into service like around 50 container ships, so they can move their products for their companies by their own. Also, a lot of containers have been produced, so we don't have the problem in China that there are no free containers anymore. So the problem is actually gone. What more? Not only national players, but also like some local Chinese shipping lines are coming to the market. Like we've seen one high shipping lines to the west coast. We saw those connections to Europe. So also smaller lines with smaller ships are actually starting to operate on those routes. But remember, you have experience with big lines like MSC and Maersk, and you know what you're facing to. When you start to work with a new line, ask your forwarder, about some experience, maybe about some delays, problems, because it might be a new player on a route. they might don't have so much experience. So of course lower prices, but always remember there is also a service factor. As I said, Taiwan, also Thailand plans to launch their own national shipping line to actually avoid those situations in the coming years. And also like China is doing their thing. What we have to take into account for the coming year is also like a better planning, and because we will still see delays. I think the coming months and actually weeks, the main problem will be delays, because we have a stagnation in pricing. You definitely will ask me in the Q&A section more I think about that, so I'll answer more questions after that. But it's important to plan ahead, and I think this was also a major factor which caused problems for many shippers, importers, and exporters. So when you plan your supply chain, take into account all of the problems I'm talking about, all the delays I'm talking about. Pay attention to your product, and to remember that when you get it too late, you won't sell your product because the season will change. And for instance, take a look for the spring products, transport December, January. I think most of you who are planning to get your products for spring for your market are already booking the containers, and you're already starting to ship them away, because December will be the last bell. January, we will see probably a small increase of rates in January, but then the delays, the custom clearance, the sales, you have to take this into account. So I think it's the last call to ship out spring products out of Asia. For instance, also like summer products, it depends on the region. I know some of you are already ordering summer products in China, in Asia, and plan to start shipping them out in January, at latest, I would say in February. Just a few examples for different seasons to show you that when you're in the seasonal business, you have to actually plan in advance. And of course, it's really too late for shipping Christmas products. January, August is always the busiest month when it comes to rates, to shipments. July, August, maybe the first part, the first half of September is also the last call for Christmas products. And this is important to understand because other factors will have impact on delays. We have typhoons. I told you about all the problems 2021. They will continue every year. So weather, factory work, audits, congestions, factory products, and take this into account. I'm always saying for China European shipment, without delays, you have to take into account around 40 to 50 days for a door-to-door transport, without congestions, without delays. If we have 2 weeks of delays in China for those, you have to add to those 50 days 2 weeks. This is safe. Of course, forwarders will market you a transit time of 28 days from South China to Rotterdam, and try to guarantee this. But it's marketing. 28 days of shipping time, it's good. We had this before the pandemic, okay, but not now, not in the 2022 year. So please remember that. And this is important to say for all actually modes of shipments. Like for rail shipments, the same. You have 12, 40, 15 days of transit time between China and Europe, China and Turkey, but it's around a month when it comes for a door-to-door shipment. And take into account delays in Kazakhstan, in Russia, and in the transit countries, which are actually at least 2 weeks, 4 weeks right now. The same for air shipments, but air shipments don't have such a congestions or problem when it comes to the delays. And my advice is for next year, how to face those problems. And after my advice, I will open up the chat window, and we can talk one-on-one and answer all the questions you guys have. I hope those advice will help you. Hopefully you don't have to use my advices. So this is for bad times, for problems, but I always would like to encourage you to compare prices. We have high prices, of course, compared to years before. And what you can do, you can compare different modes of transport. So compare when you're in Europe, compare rail to sea. I know rail is something really new for you, for many importers in Europe, but you don't have to be aware of that. We have around 10,000 rail connections this year between China and Europe. So, every day that trains arriving from China to Europe, you can use it and compare it, because it might be that you get better prices on this or that mode of transport. Also, check other connections. This is especially when we face congestions. When you talk with your forwarder, ask for other options. You can ask for a quotation from Shanghai to Rotterdam. But when your company is based in Germany, you can ship it via Rotterdam, via Antwerp, or via Hamburg. And there might be some congestions in one of the port, and the forwarder will tell you, we have a cheaper connection to Rotterdam, which is around $800 cheaper, but those delays, I cannot guarantee you the transit time. Ship it to Hamburg. It might be a little bit more expensive, but you will get your cargo on time. The same advice and solution may appear in China, especially when we have new outbreaks, especially when there might be some lockdowns in China. The Ningbo Shanghai region is not just one port. You can ship via Ningbo, you can ship via multiple ports around Shanghai, actually. And if you are flexible with changing, the port of shipment, you can avoid that. The same South China. We have Shenzhen, Zhuhai, Guangzhou, Shantou, Hong Kong. Those biggest ports are like, they're really, it's 50, 100 kilometers from one port to another one. And, driving your container to Zhuhai instead of a closed congestion port of Shenzhen might save you 2-3 weeks and a lot of money when it comes to the shipment. So be flexible, and I think we have to get more and more flexible when it comes to the to shipments. Also, work with different forwarders. You can find different forwarders on ShipHub. We are on 6-7 markets. You can find them. You can talk to them, quote, and also see that some of them might have really different prices. When you contact, you will see even a couple of $100 differences in the same line, in the same route, but from different forwarders. So this is also a good solution to work with few forwarders for the coming year and also avoid those costs. Of course, try the LCR shipments. I know many of you are just using the FCR shipments for the goods, and it's expensive to ship a whole container. But hey, why not to try an LCL race shipment? Why not to split the container into two smaller shipments? This could also save you some money. Of course, stuffing goods. Many of our shippers are talking to the suppliers in China, and sometimes you just need to have a conversation with your manufacturer, and it appears, you can change the packing. You can change the way they actually pack the container, and it will really save you some cubic meters. One of our clients, when it comes to our consulting business to examine China, he was able to downgrade the packing of around 30%. So the same product in a different carton, in a different packing, and 30% more of the product in a container. This saves a lot of money. Of course, split the goods, as I said, not only to LCR shipments, but maybe into two 20-feet container instead of a big container. If you want to wait, you can always talk to your supplier. Maybe ask them if he can wait for it, store the goods, especially in January. Maybe if you don't need the products right now, it's a better solution to wait 1 month and start to ship the goods after the Chinese New Year in February. This is also one of the solutions. What more? Always work with reliable suppliers in China. Know your Incoterms. Work on good Incoterms. I'm not a big fan of CIF shipments when it comes, for instance, for the European market. Maybe switch to FOB or to Xworks. Have more control about your cargo. Because when you work with your forwarder and have more control with your cargo, for instance, on Xworks terms, you can tell your forwarder, okay, guys, split the shipments. Let's ship, a 20-feet container like the CBMs on rail. Maybe take the risk 50-50 and ship the 20 other feet container on sea, and let's see what happens. Of course, get familiar with the Chinese holidays. For the whole upcoming year. You will get from me the whole presentation I'm talking about today. So you will get the calendar as and what I've mentioned: China New Year, 1st of February. And of course, you have to remember that last shipments from China will happen in the week 25th, 29th of January. And as you know, those prices will be definitely higher. I believe, it's my personal opinion, guys, actually definitely higher than after the Chinese New Year, or actually right now, because more products to send, more seasonal products to send. And when you look into the calendar, that the Chinese factories will come back to work after the Lantern Festival. So actually, they will come to work around the 20th of February. Yeah, it's too late for spring products here in Europe, because March, April, spring is coming and everybody wants the products in the warehouse. What I said, try other modes. I know I'm saying this a lot, but try rail shipments, try sea shipments if you didn't try it. Even move your air cargo to other way of transport. Don't be afraid. If you have a good forwarder, he can handle all the ways of shipments. This is not a problem. Plan ahead, of course. Remember, but also check the other holidays in mid 22, in autumn 2022, like the Mid Autumn Festival. Plan it into your calendar, into your production schedule, and be prepared for that. As I mentioned, you can always change the Incoterms, negotiate the Incoterms with your partners. So you will get the whole Incoterms ebook from me also. So if you are not familiar with the differences between X-Works and FOB, DAP, and CFA when it comes to rail shipments, it's really easy to understand, but you have to also get to know your Incoterms 2020 when it comes to import from China. Also, what more? Remember about timeless of the offers. We know that we can get from Ningbo to Antwerp a 40-feet container for $50,000, but how much will we pay in January? I can't predict it really directly. No one actually can. I can tell you the trends, what you have to prepare, how you can work with those problems, and just look onto the market and see the trend that it's falling down on each market, not only on the route between China and US, but we see prices falling down to Japan, to Southeast Asia, to Europe, to other regions. Also, remember, it's an advice not only for the next year, but it's an advice I'm always telling the shippers. Remember to insure your goods, even if you have some LCL shipments, because we've seen some big problems the last year when it came to big shipments to big ships, and we want to avoid that. In the first quarter of 2021, I don't have the updates right now, but for the first quarter, we had so many boxes falling out into the sea, and without the proper insurance, you will actually lose a lot of money, guys. And please also remember that it's not a big cost to insure your goods when it comes to international shipments. You see here, for instance, a couple of $100s for your orders. It's really not a big cost. So thank you guys for listening, for staying with me until the end. It was really happy to meet you guys and talk to you.